Welcome everyone. Today we're not just going to talk about happiness. We're going to go inside the life of a man who had everything but felt nothing. His name is Jack. He's not a celebrity. He's not famous. He doesn't have 1 million followers or a Lamborghini. But his story is more powerful than most success stories you've ever heard. Because Jack had the one thing most people are afraid to admit. An invisible sadness. The kind that no one sees. The kind that doesn't make noise. The kind that quietly kills your joy. This is not just his story. This might be yours too. So, I want you to listen closely because somewhere in these words, you may find the secret of your own happiness. And if you want to understand stories like this, not just emotionally, but also in real powerful English, you're in the right place. Here we grow your mind and your English together. So, subscribe now and let this be the story that changes your life and your language. My name is Jack. I still remember that night. It was a Thursday evening, winter, cold, the kind of night when people sit with family and eat warm food. But I was alone. I had just finished my dinner. A dry microwave meal I didn't even enjoy. I turned off the TV. The room went silent. And suddenly, I felt something strange. Not pain. Not sadness, just empty. I sat there staring at the walls of my apartment. Everything was fine on the outside. I had a good job. I had money in my account. I had a phone full of contacts. I even had new shoes delivered that morning. But inside me, something was missing. And for the first time in years, I actually noticed it. If my life looks fine, why don't I feel fine? That one question changed everything. I had spent years doing what I was supposed to do. Graduate, get a job, earn money, be responsible, post a birthday selfie. Say, I'm good. I played the role perfectly. But that night, in that silence, I felt like a stranger inside my own body. I looked around my apartment. Everything was where it should be. Laptop on the table, coffee mug beside the bed, phone charging, curtains half closed, but none of it felt mine. I was living but not alive. It hit me hard. I hadn't laughed genuinely in months. I hadn't woken up excited in years. I hadn't felt free since I was a teenager. Every day was a cycle. Wake up, check phone, work, eat, scroll, sleep. I had stopped dreaming. I had stopped feeling. I had stopped asking myself, Jack, are you okay? Because the truth was I wasn't. The worst part. I felt guilty for even thinking this. My inner voice said, Jack, people are suffering out there. You have a roof, a job, health. Be grateful. You're lucky. Stop complaining. But I wasn't complaining. I was confused because I had everything society told me to chase and still I felt nothing. That confusion, that quiet question in my head, it broke me open. It wasn't depression. It was disconnection. I wasn't falling apart. I was just disconnected from life. Like a phone that shows full battery but has no signal. That's what I had become. A man with a working body and a lost soul. That night, for the first time in years, I sat quietly and did something rare. I didn't open my phone. I didn't escape into a screen. I just sat there and let the silence speak. And it did. It told me the truth I had been hiding from. Jack, you are not living. You are just surviving. I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I didn't post a quote on Instagram. I just made one promise to myself. I need to find out what happiness actually means. Not what people say, not what movies show, but what it really means for me. That was the night my journey started. A quiet, personal, lonely, powerful journey. Not toward more success, but toward something more rare. Peace, clarity, happiness, real happiness. For a long time, I believed something without ever questioning it. I believed that happiness comes later. Later when life becomes easier. When problems disappear. When I become successful enough from the time we are children. Life teaches us a rule. First struggle, then succeed, then be happy. So happiness becomes a reward, not a state. People don't say it directly, but they live like this. Finish your studies first, then enjoy. Work hard now, happiness will come later. Sacrifice your present for a better future. So we learn to postpone happiness. We learn to say not now, later. And later becomes a habit. I didn't wake up thinking I don't want to be happy today. No, I woke up thinking once I fix this part of my life, I'll finally relax. So I kept fixing things. When I was a student, I said after I graduate, I'll be happy. After I graduated, I said after I get a job, I'll be happy. After I got the job. After promotion. After promotion. After more money. After more money, after everything feels stable. But stability never came because the moment one problem ended, another one appeared. Life didn't pause and say, okay, Jack, now it's your turn to be happy. Life just kept moving. One day, I realized something painful. I was always preparing for life, but I wasn't actually living it. My mind was always in the future, planning, fixing, improving, worrying, calculating. I was treating happiness like a destination on a map. But the map kept changing and the destination kept moving. This lie is dangerous because it teaches you one thing. Your present moment is never enough. So even when life is okay, you feel unsatisfied. Even when nothing is wrong, you feel restless. Even when you achieve something, you feel empty again. Not because the achievement is useless, but because you never allowed yourself to feel fulfilled. You immediately move the finish line. Let me be very clear. This has nothing to do with phones, nothing to do with technology, nothing to do with modern life alone. People were unhappy long before phones existed. The real problem is deeper. The problem is how we measure life. We measure life like a checklist. Am I successful enough? Am I respected enough? Am I productive enough? Am I ahead of others? And as long as one box is unchecked, we tell ourselves, I don't deserve happiness yet. So happiness becomes conditional. And conditional happiness is fragile because conditions are never perfect. No one was forcing me, no boss, no parent, no society standing in front of me. The pressure was inside my head. A quiet voice saying, you should be more. You should do better. You should be further ahead. That voice never rested. and slowly I stopped resting too. One evening after work, I asked myself something honestly. What exactly am I waiting for? I had food. I had shelter. I had health. I had time. So why was I delaying happiness? That's when I saw the truth clearly. I was using the future as an excuse to avoid the present. I was saying, I'll live later, because living now felt uncertain, uncomfortable, and unplanned. The biggest lie is not that happiness comes from money or success. The biggest lie is this: you must earn the right to be happy. That belief turns life into a constant exam. You are always proving, always chasing, always fixing yourself, and you never arrive. Happiness is not a reward for perfection. It is not a bonus for achievement. It is not something life gives you when you behave well. Happiness is what happens when you stop postponing yourself. When you stop saying not now and start saying this moment matters too. Understanding this didn't solve my problems overnight. I still had responsibilities. I still had fears. I still had questions. But something changed inside me. I stopped treating happiness like a future prize. I started seeing it as a way of being. If you miss this truth, no habit, no routine, no mindset trick will help, because as long as you believe, I'll be happy after, you will always be chasing, and chasing never brings peace. That morning changed everything. Not because something big happened, but because for the first time in years, nothing happened. It was 6 a.m. I had woken up too early by mistake. The sky outside was still dark blue. My apartment was completely silent. The city hadn't started yet. No alarms, no emails, no noise, just me. The sound of the heater and my breathing. For the first time in forever, I didn't reach for my phone. I didn't check what I missed. I didn't check who liked my post. I didn't rush. I just sat and looked out of the window, and something strange happened. No one texted me. No one praised me. I didn't get promoted. Nothing improved in my life. And yet, I felt something I hadn't felt in a long time. Peace. Not the kind of peace where you jump and dance. Not excitement. Not motivation. Just a soft, deep stillness in the chest. It was like my thoughts were finally sitting down instead of running wild. And I whispered to myself, wait, is this what I've been missing all along? That's when I understood something massive. Most of the pain I was carrying wasn't from people. Wasn't from my job, wasn't from my failures. It was from how I thought about all of it. I was replaying old conversations in my head. I was imagining things that hadn't happened. I was constantly judging myself. I was worrying about what others think of me. I wasn't tired of life. I was tired of my own thoughts. My mind had become my enemy, and I didn't even notice it. Have you ever been lying on your bed, but your brain is running a marathon? That was my life. Even in moments of rest, I couldn't actually rest because my brain kept whispering, you should be more. You're behind. You're nothing compared to him. You're not good enough. Every single day, these thoughts repeated like background music, and I had gotten used to it. That morning in silence, I heard nothing, and it felt like freedom. Here's what I learned in that one quiet hour. When the mind stops running, happiness doesn't need to be created. It comes back automatically, because deep down you were never broken. You were just buried under layers. Layers of overthinking, layers of fear, layers of guilt, layers of trying to please others, layers of trying to prove yourself. And the only way to remove those layers is to stop running. Every day I was fighting time. I should be further by now. Fighting people, they don't understand me. Fighting reality. This shouldn't be happening. Fighting myself. Why am I like this? No wonder I was exhausted. I was trying to control everything. But in that morning silence, I stopped fighting. And in that space, I found peace I didn't know I was capable of feeling. Most people think if I can just fix everything out there, I'll be okay in here. But that's backwards. No house, no relationship, no money, no career, no perfect body can fix a chaotic mind. Because even if life is beautiful, you'll still feel miserable if your mind is in pain. That's why some rich people are depressed. That's why some beautiful people feel ugly. That's why some successful people feel like failures. Because the battle isn't outside, it's inside. I stopped asking what's wrong with my life and I started asking what's wrong with the way I see life. That question saved me because it put the power back in my hands. I realized my freedom begins when my thoughts slow down. What did I do next? Did I quit my job? No. Did I go live in the mountains? No. Did I become some spiritual monk? No, I just started practicing one new habit. I gave myself 10 minutes of silence every morning. No phone, no scrolling, no pressure, just silence. At first, it felt strange. But after a week, my mind stopped screaming all the time, and I realized something so simple, so life-changing. Happiness is not something you chase. It's something you uncover once the noise goes away. The real problem is not that we don't have happiness. The real problem is we've built a life that keeps covering it up. We are too busy, too distracted, too pressured, too disconnected, too overloaded. That morning, I didn't add anything to my life. I just removed the noise and happiness returned. Not as a guest, but as my home. If your mind is tired, your soul will feel heavy. Even if life is good. If your thoughts are always running, you'll never feel safe. Even when you are. That day, I understood the first true secret of happiness. Happiness is not a goal. It's the silence that remains when the noise finally stops. And once I saw that truth, I couldn't live the same way anymore. After that silent morning, when I finally felt peace for the first time in years, I began asking a much deeper question. If this peace was always there, why did I keep losing it every single day? Why did my happiness disappear so quickly? Why did I feel empty again the moment the world turned back on? I found the answer, and it wasn't just painful, it was terrifying. Sounds crazy, right? Everyone says they want to be happy, but deep down, most people are not ready for real happiness. Why? Because real happiness feels foreign in a world addicted to pain. We are taught how to achieve. We are taught how to hustle. We are taught how to survive. But no one teaches us how to be at peace with ourselves. So when peace comes, it feels uncomfortable. We sabotage it. We ruin it. We go back to what we know. Stress, chasing, drama, pressure. I didn't smoke. I didn't drink. I didn't gamble. But I had other addictions. Addiction to overthinking. Addiction to guilt. Addiction to comparing. Addiction to fixing everything. Addiction to controlling the future. Addiction to anxiety. Yes, anxiety. Because anxiety gave me something to focus on. It made me feel like I was working on my life, but all I was doing was destroying my peace in advance. I grew up in a mindset that said, if you're not struggling, you're not doing it right. So when life felt calm, I felt like I was being lazy, like I was falling behind, like I wasn't pushing hard enough. Happiness started to feel like failure. That's how twisted things had become in my mind. This is the most honest thing I've ever said. When my life got quiet, I didn't feel peace at first. I felt fear because stillness makes you hear your own voice. And most people are terrified of what they'll hear inside. We keep ourselves busy not because life demands it, but because silence feels like a mirror. And some of us haven't looked in that mirror for years. I looked around one day and realized I had built a world that protected my pain, not healed it. I stayed in environments that kept me distracted. I kept people around who never asked me real questions. I avoided rest because rest meant reflection. Clears throat. I avoided slowing down because slowing down meant facing the truth. I didn't know who I was without my stress. I didn't know how to live without worrying. I didn't know how to be happy without earning it. It's not phones. It's not social media. It's not news. It's not even money. Those are just tools. The real reason most people are unhappy is this. They have trained their mind to believe that they are only safe when they are uncomfortable. Comfort feels dangerous. Peace feels suspicious. Joy feels like a trap. So even when life is calm, they find something to worry about. I did it every single day without realizing it. Let me give you an example. One day work ended early. I had no responsibilities. The sky was beautiful. I was healthy. But guess what I did? I started thinking I should be doing something productive. This peace won't last, so don't enjoy it too much. Why do I even deserve to feel good right now? And just like that, I took the gift of a beautiful day and poisoned it with my thoughts. Here's something wild I learned from a therapist I spoke to later. The human brain is wired to return to what feels familiar, not what feels good. So, if stress is familiar, you'll return to it. If overthinking is familiar, you'll return to it. If self-doubt is familiar, you'll return to it. It's not your fault, but it is your responsibility because no one can heal your mind for you. I wasn't trying to ruin my life. I was just trying to be responsible. I was just trying to stay ahead. I was just trying to prepare for the worst. But the worst had already happened. I had lost my ability to enjoy being alive. And no external success could fix that. Not because success is wrong, but because I never allowed myself to feel good along the way. I made a decision, not a big one, a small one. From now on, when peace comes, I will not reject it. I will allow myself to feel it, even if it only lasts a moment. Even if my brain says I don't deserve it, that small decision saved me from drowning in my own mind. Happiness doesn't feel hard because it's impossible. It feels hard because you've been told it must be earned. You've been told it's childish to chase it. You've been told you should be strong, not soft. You've been told peace makes you weak. Peace is the highest form of strength, because only the strong can stay calm in a loud world. If you truly want happiness, you must rewire how your mind sees peace. You must stop rejecting it. Stop overthinking it. Stop judging it. You must sit in it. Welcome it. Let it stay. And most importantly, you must stop building a life that only works in survival mode because you deserve more than survival. You deserve to live. There's a moment in every person's life where the truth hits them so hard it's like lightning inside the heart. It's not loud. It doesn't break anything outside, but inside it burns down everything that was false. That moment came for me on an ordinary Tuesday evening. No big tragedy, no emotional speech. No one left me. No one yelled at me. I was just sitting on my bed staring at the wall, and I finally saw the truth clearly. No one is responsible for my happiness except me. I had been waiting for something all my life. I didn't say it out loud, but deep inside, I was hoping maybe when I fall in love, I'll finally feel whole. Maybe when I get my dream job, I'll finally feel proud. Maybe when life becomes easier, I'll finally feel peaceful. But that night, I realized I had made happiness someone else's job. I kept waiting for the world to bring me peace when it was never the world's job. I'll be honest with you. I wanted someone to look at me and say, "Jack, I see your pain. I understand you. Let me fix it for you." No one can do that, because even if someone gives you love, gives you attention, gives you comfort, if you don't feel worthy inside, you'll reject it. If you don't love yourself, you'll question their love. If you don't accept yourself, you'll never believe you deserve peace. And that's what happened to me. I kept saying, life is unfair. People don't understand me. It's society's fault. It's pressure. It's stress. But the deeper I went, the more I saw it wasn't life. It was me. I wasn't listening to myself. I wasn't taking care of my inner world. I wasn't setting boundaries. I wasn't speaking kindly to myself. I was neglecting my soul and blaming the world for the emptiness. No amount of praise, success, or love can heal a person who is disconnected from themselves. I had to stop blaming my past, my parents, my ex, my boss, the economy, God, time, luck, people, the system. I had to stop asking, why won't someone help me? And start asking, Jack, why won't you help yourself? For years, I told myself stories. I'm not ready. I need to suffer more first. I don't deserve peace yet. Maybe next year things will change. I didn't realize I was the one keeping the door closed. I was the one postponing my own healing. That realization broke me. It felt like grief because I had to mourn the version of myself that kept waiting. But once I let that version go, something opened inside me. That night, I said something to myself that changed everything. I am no longer waiting. I am no longer blaming. I am no longer outsourcing my joy. From now on, I take responsibility for my peace. And I meant it. Not in a motivational way, not like a quote. I meant it deep in my bones because I was tired. Tired of pretending. Tired of blaming. Tired of giving away the power to feel alive. Taking responsibility doesn't mean life gets easier. It means you stop running from your truth. You stop waiting for others to understand. You stop negotiating your worth. You stop trying to be someone you're not. It's painful at first because now you can't play the victim anymore. But it's also powerful because you finally get your freedom back. Most people misunderstand this. Taking responsibility does not mean blaming yourself, forcing yourself to be positive, ignoring your pain, saying I'm fine when you're not. It means this: my happiness is my project. My peace is my home and no one else can live there but me. It means becoming the guardian of your own mind. Instead of why don't I feel happy, I asked what am I still blaming the world for that I should start healing in myself. This is where real change begins because healing doesn't happen when you change others. It happens when you finally change your relationship with yourself. The moment I stopped blaming, I felt lighter. I slept better. I didn't panic when things went wrong. I stopped overreacting. I smiled more, not to look happy, but because now I didn't have to wait for life to behave. I just had to take care of my own space, my own emotions, my own energy. And that responsibility felt like peace, not pressure. If you're still waiting for someone to come save you, they're not coming. But don't feel sad about that because once you stop waiting, you realize the only person who's truly capable of saving you has been with you all along. It's you. And you are more powerful than you've ever been told. I had searched for happiness my entire life. I thought it would feel like fireworks, dancing, smiling all day, jumping with joy, big moments and big rewards. But I was wrong, because after all the struggle, all the thinking, all the pain, and all the silence, I discovered the real secret. And it didn't explode. It whispered. It didn't shout. It didn't announce itself. It didn't arrive with music playing in the background. It just showed up one day like an old friend. When I stopped running, when I stopped pretending, when I stopped trying to be someone I'm not. Happiness didn't appear after I fixed everything. It appeared when I stopped trying to fix myself like I was broken. It appeared when I finally said, "This is who I am. This is where I am, and that's enough for now." Excitement is a feeling, comes and goes, but alignment is a way of living. It's when your thoughts, your actions, and your values finally match. It's when you don't say yes when your heart says no. You don't chase what's not meant for you. You don't try to impress people who don't care about your soul. Alignment feels like peace, and peace feels like home because your life doesn't hurt you every day. Your thoughts about life do. Thoughts of not being enough. Thoughts of not being loved. Thoughts of not being ahead. Thoughts of not being like them. But guess what? You're not broken. You're just carrying thoughts that don't belong to you anymore. Let them go. For years I lived like this. Smile in public, struggle in private, achieve more, feel less, work hard, sleep numb. I was alive on the outside, but disconnected on the inside because I was wearing a mask every day. And it's hard to feel happiness when your real self is hiding. The moment I gave my real self permission to come out, not the perfect version, not the filtered version, not the successful version, just me. That's when the healing began. This was the biggest change of all. I stopped criticizing myself, comparing myself, punishing myself, rushing myself, pushing myself, judging myself. And I started speaking kindly to myself, resting without guilt, loving without fear, failing snorts without shame, healing without deadlines. I stopped treating myself like a machine and started treating myself like a human. That's where happiness lives. You can't feel joy in the future. You can only feel it now. But most people don't live in now. They live in yesterday's regret, tomorrow's fear, today's to-do list, but not this breath, not this smile, not this sunrise, not this quiet cup of tea. Happiness lives in this moment, and most of us are never here long enough to feel it. Here are 4 invisible habits that block happiness for almost everyone. 1. Overthinking. Thinking isn't the problem. Believing every thought is. 2. Comparison. The fastest way to lose joy is to compare your life to someone who doesn't even know you exist. 3. Living for approval. If your happiness depends on what others think, you will never own your soul. 4. Chasing more, ignoring now. There is no next thing that will magically fix your emptiness. If you can't find peace where you are, you won't find it where you're going. One night, I whispered something to myself. It was the most honest thing I've ever said. Jack, your life is not the problem. Your resistance to life is that hit me like a wave because I realized I kept waiting for life to give me something. But life had already given me everything I needed to feel peace. I just didn't know how to see it. So what is happiness really? Not pleasure, not thrill, not perfection. Happiness is breathing with ease, living without pretending, resting without shame, waking up and not dreading the day, accepting yourself without needing permission. Happiness is not a destination. It's a practice. It's a way of seeing. It's a way of being. It's not something you chase. It's something you allow. If you've listened this far, let me tell you something directly. Heart to heart. You were not born to live in pain forever. You were not born to chase and never rest. You were not born to impress. You were not born to carry guilt, shame, and self-hate. You were born to live. And living starts when you decide to stop escaping your life and start feeling it. Even the quiet parts, even the boring parts, even the messy parts. Because somewhere in that silence, underneath the noise, beyond the lies you've been told, happiness is waiting. Not far away, not in the future, but inside you right now. This is the end of my story, but maybe it's the beginning of yours. So, I'll leave you with just one question. If happiness was never outside you, then what are you still chasing that's stealing your peace? Because the moment you stop running, you don't lose happiness. You return to it. And maybe today is the day you come home.